The Russia hoax is finally dead.
Yeah, ask most Republicans about the 2016 Russian interference in our election, and they'll spout that same Trumpy bunk.
After years of Democrats using this committee as a mouthpiece for every conspiracy theory they could find, like the Russian collusion hoax.
At least when I catch my dog drinking out of the toilet, he has the integrity to act ashamed. So I'll repeat this again. Every U.S. intelligence agency, 17 of them, said Russia interfered.
Could be Russia, but it could also be China. It could also be lots of other people. It also could be somebody sitting on their bed that weighs 400 pounds, okay?
As the presidential campaign continues in the fall of 2016, American intelligence officials brief members of Congress that the Russian government is looking to interfere in the election. In September, at the G20 meeting in China, President Obama reportedly warns Russian President Vladimir Putin to stop his nation's interference.
Look at that picture of Obama, ready to bust Putin's compared to tiny fingers, whose sphincters squirming in delight. There is no dispute that Russia is attempting to again interfere in our election. None, zero, nada. Still, the Republican Party and Fox News spread the same hoax soundbite, even though they know it's BS. A month ago, the Republicans based a groundless impeachment inquiry entirely on the testimony of Alexander Smirnov, a Russian asset who fed Comer and Jordan disinformation that Smirnov admitted was given to him by Russia, which means Putin. Did Comer and Jordan know? How could they not know?
Republican politicians and the right-wing media relied on this discredited informant to make their case over and over and over again.
A veteran FBI informant alleging both the president and Hunter Biden each took $5 million in bribes.
The details come from an FBI informant who is very trusted.
A highly reliable informant that has always checked out. All the information he's ever given us has checked out.
We have determined that whistleblower is extremely credible.
This is a very crucial piece of our investigation.
A confidential human source that had been reliable previously to the FBI.
A confidential informant that they had on the payroll. Documented allegations of bribery from a trusted FBI confidential human source has now finally been released. Now, its contents are devastating.
God, come on. How many times do we got to do this? Trump and the Republican Party are accepting help from Russia to defeat Biden in exchange for a promise to cut off aid to Ukraine. That's it. The same thing happened in 2016 when the RNC, with Trump as a nominee, withdrew their support for Ukraine from their platform. Why? Because earlier that year, Yanukovych, the Ukrainian dictator, was forced to flee Ukraine for Putin's Russia, as was his right-hand man, Paul Manafort, who fled not to Russia but to Trump and offered to run his campaign for free. Eventually, Manafort was convicted and pardoned by Trump, and now is negotiating again to work for Trump. And it's happening one more time. Everyone from the director of the FBI to Lev Parnas, one of Rudy's henchmen, backs the truth that Russia was actively working to help Trump. It's deja vu all over again.
Congressman McCall made a comment this week about what he says sounds like Russian propaganda from some conservative media. And why it's so difficult to explain to Republican voters why supporting Ukraine is important. He told Julia Yaffe, quote, "I think Russian propaganda has made its way into the United States, unfortunately, and it's infected a good chunk of my party's base." He singled out primetime shows on conservative channels. Do you agree with him? And how big is this problem?
Oh, it is absolutely true. We see directly coming from Russia attempts to mask communications that are anti-Ukraine and pro-Russia messages, some of which we even hear being uttered on the House floor. I mean, there are members of Congress today who still incorrectly say that this conflict between Russia and Ukraine is over NATO, which of course it is not. Vladimir Putin having made it very clear, both publicly and to his own population, that his view is that this is a conflict of a much broader claim of Russia to Eastern Europe, and including claiming all of Ukraine territory as Russia's. Ukraine needs our help and assistance now, and this is a very critical time for the U.S. Congress to step up and provide that aid.
I have so many questions. How did this happen? How did the Republicans go from this,
tear down this wall,
to this?
They said they think it's Russia. I don't see any reason why it would be.
We already have Trump saying he would cut NATO loose.
And we're attacked by Russia. Will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want.
And we know that's been Putin's goal all along, instability.
What are the dangers? That's what we ought to focus on right now. It is precisely what Mike Turner laid out a moment ago, Chairman Turner. It is the infection and I use that word deliberately, of big chunks of the Republican Party with propaganda that is flowing not only from Moscow, but increasingly from Beijing. And to the chairman's point, the danger here, Mika, is the fact that Putin will not stop at Ukraine. What's in his head are, at a minimum, the borders of the old Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, which, newsflash, included Moldova, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, the old borders of Russia. The latter three, of course, are members of NATO. So the danger here is if we back away from providing this sensible amount of aid to Ukraine, we can count on Vladimir Putin continuing to press forward, and eventually we'll end up in a collision between NATO and the Russian Federation.
Look, I have nothing against the Russian people. Growing up in D.C., despite the threat of thermonuclear war, I met and befriended quite a few. To a person, they denounce their government but praise their people. Today, Putin is the government, and his only goal is to restore Russia to save his own ass. So again, I asked this question: how did this happen?
Donald Trump and now a bunch of other prominent Republicans, from Tucker Carlson to Mike Pompeo, saying nice things about Putin. And I just ask you all, how did that happen?
I think it's one of the most stunning and shocking sort of reversals of the Republican Party. One of the fundamental tenets of the party, right behind low taxes, was a staunch defense against authoritarian regimes, including and especially Vladimir Putin and Russia.
And we now know for certain that the party has pivoted away from Reagan and fully to Trump.
The truth is ugly, but here goes. Trump is owned by Putin. And no, it's not the P-tape. Trump is a horrible businessman who has 6 bankruptcies, including bankrupting a casino. Seriously, how do you do that? A casino.
My problem with him is he bankrupted a casino. Okay, Peter? When you leave here, I want you to wander around and wonder how this person who you think is this spectacular leader, he bankrupted a casino.
Now, Trump has sold properties to Saudi kings and Russian oligarchs and made millions, but these aren't your usual clients. Both get their hooks in you and they don't let go. But that doesn't explain why Republicans would spread Russian disinformation designed to defeat Biden unless they were getting paid. I don't know who to credit here. Is Putin that clever, or are Republicans just an easy mark?
Putin's a killer. Why you think our country's so innocent?
Well, maybe not in the way Trump means, but the Republican Party is anything but innocent. Ukraine will be a test and a loud signal to the world. I'm betting while Trump says this,
America first,
he really means this.
Am I wrong?
Who's with me?
Yes!
Tick-tock, mother...
Time to pack it up.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
Follow, like, and please subscribe to Really American, where we keep you up to date on the latest Republican cult lie in this very important year. Hey, and make sure you join us as a member on Patreon, where we can connect directly with you and enable us to expand, make more videos, and hire more hosts. Can't do it without you. For Really American,
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.